Good afternoon. It's Arlo Johnson from Vernon, BC, Okanagan Valley, 2 o'clock, January the 29th. Hope you're all well. What I was going to mention today was the fact that I've been watching, and I imagine you have too, many of you, Canadian Parliament arguing back and forth between themselves. And of course, if you're watching the internet, you had no doubt been watching the goings on in the States between the Republicans and the Democrats. But this has been going on now for about a year or so that I've actually paid attention to this one fact that I think is pretty important, really, is the world is getting to be a more dangerous place, and it's like building up to something, and yet all these people who are in politics and according to what we have here has been duly elected, they are supposed to be doing what the people want, but they don't. They don't do that. And here's the thing. When you have a real problem, and like they're discussing it in Parliament or in Congress, the whole thing is a bunch of talk. Yak, yak, yak. Talk, talk, talk. No action. They don't really get down to brass tacks of stuff. And I believe that's going to be the downfall of these democratic countries, because they're no longer democratic. To be democratic, it means that the majority rules, and that's what's supposed to happen. But that's not the case. It's a minority of people who run the government the way they want, promise anything you like to get elected, and using the vote to make it legal in their eyes. And it's just they know that they can force feed people all kinds of BS and stuff, and and they'll swallow it over and over. They'll tell them again, they'll swallow it again. So it's a pretty sad case anyway. But the thing is that the world is heading in a direction that steeper direction than it did in the past. Much steeper, much faster. You know, people say, oh well, they say, well, are this at last days or what? These are the last days, but you don't know which last days. I can guarantee you right now, like today, it'll be at least 7 years from now. And it most likely be 7 years from tomorrow too. And until something really happens that triggers what the book of Revelation speaks of, the tribulation, Jacob's trouble is another one they call it. Until that starts, you can't, nobody can say when this age is going to quit, be over with, or when God's going to call the end of it. Because until it starts, it goes for 7 years. First 3.5 are supposed to be, you know, fairly, well, you know, a lot of trouble and stuff, but basically weather problems and you know, disturbances. Then the last 3.5 years, it's getting right down to how many get killed here, how many get killed there. So the thing, it just shows that how helpless people are trying to make laws, and the biggest problem always is everyone wants to have the right to decide between good and evil. What's right and what's wrong. I'll tell you what's wrong. That's wrong. I go, everyone wants to do that. But everyone wants to do their own set of rules. Doesn't work. God has a set of rules. They're basically permanent, as far as I understand. And they're backed up with a penalty. If you don't do them, you die. You're death. You're wiped out. And in some cases it says you're wiped out into hell. And you can tell, I mean, if you have a law like that, it has to have consequences or there's no law. Now, the thing is, well, the thing is that the idea that people are missing, I guess, and have missed for a long time, is that before there was even anything at all, first Earth, second Earth, third Earth, none of that. Before there was anything of that, God says that that was decided between Him and the Word. That's who existed, I guess. And it was decided that the Word would be the one that would become human man and would suffer the consequences that would pay for the penalty for all the people on the earth. And God agreed that that penalty would be satisfied by the death of Himself to pay for it. Now, when I say Himself, it's God is more than just one seems to be more than one entity. There's three. God, the Word, and the Spirit. And, you know, it's tough for us to understand that, that's for sure. But I mean, there's some things that you have to take at face value, and even if you don't understand it, you've got to say, well, that's beyond my pay grade to explain or whatever, and I'll know eventually. Now, you know, this whole thing, and I've mentioned this many times before, and it just hits me every time I see things going on, and I realize that we are going through a plan. And this plan, every single bit of it is there. I mean, it's all there. And a great, huge plan. Can you imagine God contemplating this plan? How many eons that took in our time? In God's time, there is no time. There is no time. It is all one time. And yeah, I can see the breakdown of the human race because it's happening in a much harder way than it ever did before, ever. And it's going to be The problem is going to be to this one narrow band of individuals who revolt against God in the tribulation and will suffer for it. All the rest, born before, died before, won't. None of that. It'll be them. And that's coming up. I was just mentioning to one of the women that work here, and she was standing in my doorway. She was doing my unit, and this woman come along who works here, and it's showing her this little dash hound she's just got. Nice little black dash hound. And, oh, isn't he cute? Oh, when they left, I said to her, I said, have you noticed? I said that we're getting to the point now where people, especially women, I didn't say women to her, but that is a fact. It is women that are substituting dogs and cats in the place of girls and boys, children, because they can take them or leave them, they can put them away, they can play with them. Doesn't interfere with their life. It adds to their life. You go for a little ride, go do this, go do that. And it becomes a substitute for children. Because the generation we're living in now that would be raising children have become selfish. Totally selfish. They don't realize it, they don't think so, but they don't want children to interfere with their life. They don't. Some of them come right out and say it. And that is a total reversal of the idea of women carrying a womb and carrying the children to term. That's really what it's for. Not for anything else. So that's a big change, and that's not gonna. I can't see that going over very good with the Creator God and Jesus Christ. And it's most likely exactly in the plan, exactly what's going to happen. I never read that in the Bible, but it's right in front of you. You can see it. Can't ignore it. It's there. And I guess you could say this is, to be alive in this time is very, I wouldn't say exciting, but it's very serious that you can live in a time where you can actually see things happening that are going to justify what's prophesied and what's going to happen. You know, when everything's running smooth and everything else, you don't think too much of this stuff. But when, well, they say shit hits the fan. Well, that's what's happening. It's starting to hit the fan, and it's starting to blow right in everybody's face. So that's, you know, I don't want to talk about this anymore today, but it's a dangerous thing, and I just hope that people realize that God has made a plan. He's made an offer. Jesus Christ paid the deal. I never used to think too much about that, you know. I heard about it. But now I realize it was a real commitment by God himself to pay the price for the people he was going to create so that his law would be justified and law would be kept. So, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. And it's happening every day. Every day. And that's for sure. So I guess we'll just hang in there and see what's going on. But the main thing is, I just hope that people realize that there is no hope, none, for those who don't believe that God and Jesus Christ have a plan. And you can be part of that plan. They made arrangements for you to do it and given it to you under one condition, that you believe them and realize who God is. Anyway, hopefully we'll see more later. Thank you, and God bless you.